Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of the Raw Reaction Show after Arsenal's 4-2 win over Aston Villa. What an amazing day. What an amazing curse that has been lifted. Yes, indeed, I can indeed travel to away games and we don't lose, although they bloody well tried. It was very, very touch and go, I'm not going to lie. And yes, I saw all of your tweets at 2-1 that were sending in to me saying, I don't think you should have gone. Well, by 90 minutes, well, just after 90 minutes, who was laughing? Well, probably all of us, to be fair, but maybe me more so than some others. It was a fantastic day. Well worth the travel, well worth the experience, all of it involved in it. And then it just kept on kind of getting better even after the day had finished. And we'll talk all about that in a bit. But good morning to those people joining us in the chat box. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Let's have a quick check on if StreamYard has messed up with the who's getting first. I think it has. Peony Ween, good morning to you. Matt G, Steve Stone, Odegaard, Amira, Yomi. We've got Steve Stone. We've got Tony, Marcus, Colin, Stephen, Matthew, Nick, we've got Martin, we've got PJ, Vivian, so many more of you as well joining us in the chat box. Thank you so much, as always, everybody, for making this a part of your usual morning routines. We do shows every single day at 8 a.m, other than yesterday, because I was travelling up to the game, to which some people suggested that I shouldn't be doing 8 a.m. shows anymore on match days, because apparently now that's the curse, that if I do an 8 a.m. show on match day, we won't win. I can tell you for a fact that's not true. And there's plenty of examples of where we have done a show and very much gone on to win the game that is a little bit later on that day. But yeah, let's go through part one, which I'm going to talk through kind of my thoughts and feelings of the different topics and things that happen. And then in part two, I'll get a lot of your reaction, your questions and your thoughts from the chat box. Yeah, a massive late comeback from Arsenal sends us top of the league. And we went top because of course, something else that happened in the day as well. But it was such a... When the game kicked off and we obviously went 1-0 down in the first few moments, the feeling... I was sitting with Kaya and Charles Watson. There was kind of this just kind of an FFS. And you know exactly what I mean. Kind of just, really? Is this how we're responding after that Man City game? Is this how things are? Another defensive mistake, another concession of possession from Zinchenko, ball over the top. Saliba's beaten, Ramsdale's beaten. Don't get me wrong, it was a brilliant run and pass from Cash and run and finish from Watkins, but they scored, as Gavin says, they scored two great goals. That was the first one. Obviously, we managed to get our first equaliser through Bukayo Saka, and I'll tell you what, from my position where I was sitting, and the press box is on the side where the coaches are, whereas the Arsenal fans are on the other side. So the Arsenal fans would have got a much better view of kind of this goal. And obviously if you were watching on TV, would have got a much better view of the goal. But when the goal went in from Saka, we were like right behind the shot. So if you're right behind where Saka's like hitting the ball, going straight into the back of the net, you don't kind of get a appreciation of how good of a strike it was until I saw the replay afterwards, until I saw like how you're hitting at that level of the volley, going through the crowd of players past Emi, who was, I think, unsighted as well. It's such a technically brilliant piece of striking of a football from Saka that we've seen many a player blaze over the bar. I think there was an opportunity that Martinelli had against Brentford in a similar position with a similar kind of strike with his right foot. That went way over the bar. Saka managed to control that strike and get it into the back of the net. It is a incredibly difficult piece of football that he's pulled off there, and certainly was worthy of a really man of the match performance from him. But there were certainly others that were man of the match as well, not only in Arsenal colours, we should say. But we did concede before Zinchenko equalised quickly on their goal. Brilliant. An amazing, amazing piece of football. If you remember Unai Emery at Arsenal, there were some goals under him that really did kind of show what his teams can do. If you remember the goal against Leicester, Aubameyang's goal against Leicester under Emery. But this goal from Villa was fantastic. Ball down the left-hand side, beat White with an inside integral pass across, dummy from Emi Buendia, and a brilliant finish from Philippe Coutinho. I saw Coutinho after the game, actually. You walked through the mix zone, and you could tell that he was frustrated. and annoyed with the result, as you would be. But it was an equaliser in the second half, a reaction in the second half, because obviously we went into that half time at 2-1 down, and I didn't leave the press box, because I couldn't, because it's a very small press box similar to Everton, where you can't, if the people around you aren't moving, you aren't moving. It's not like a football where you can just kind of go around people's seats. You can't do that in a press box because you've got like the table in front of you with the laptop. So there's no, you're trapped in place. At some clubs you can get up and go quite easy. At Arsenal it's easy because every seat's in like a pairing. Every seats are in twos, so you can move around quite easy. But at Villa it's just a long row. And you're trapped in there until full time, until people move. So it was a kind of a period of reflection at halftime for a lot of us, and we're just kind of looking and waiting for something to happen. And the players came out, as we know, really, really early, a good fair few minutes before the Villa players emerged as well, and they were just kind of on the field talking amongst each other. Xhaka was having a conversation with Trossard. There were other players talking between one another, and then in the second half, it was kind of like the complete switch at the Man City game. Where in the Man City game, we kind of just fell away. And in the second half, we showed what we've been doing for a lot of the season, the dominance, the passing, the attacking. Yes, looking a bit vulnerable on the counter, and we'll talk about that. But the set-piece attempt, which led to Zinchenko's goal, I actually predicted a Zinchenko goal on our preview show. Scoreline I got completely wrong, missed 4 goals. But Zinchenko on the score sheet was something that I'd actually said in the preview show, talking about a curiosity of how he might celebrate. This is a picture of him celebrating at full time because it's a better photo than any other picture I could have picked. But the celebration he had after he scored was actually a case of just get to the halfway line, just get back, get into position, because we need to go and try and grab this win. And we really did battle, and we really did kind of fight to try and find that equaliser. But it did feel as though it was a game that could go either way. Got to sneeze. There it is. Sorry, apologies for that. That's why I mute my mic quickly enough, so I'm hoping I protect your ears from hearing that. But we certainly didn't choke in the end, because Arsenal managed to get the victory. But there were moments where I thought, wow, we are throwing this away a little bit. First of all, the chance for Eddie Nketiah, the header. Really, really good header, you have to say. Hit the bar. Brilliant work from Ben White, who I thought in the second half before he came off, I thought Ben White was fantastic. I thought Ben White in the second half before he was substituted was brilliant. I was actually disappointed to see White go off for Tomiyasu, because I thought White was being really, really good. The overlaps, the timing of his runs, the crossing, the quality of that cross for Nketiah was so good. The looping, hanging the ball in the air. Grealish did a similar cross actually against us on Wednesday night, and I thought in that moment again how excellent it is, the skill it takes to kind of loop a ball across over the goalkeeper, keeping it in the boundaries. And Nketiah did really well to leap to get the header on it. And I can't believe that he got stick from a lot of supporters about that chance of hitting the bar, because it's a really difficult header to get that high up, to get it back across goal, to try and get it on target. So I thought Nketiah's chance then was a real tough one that unfortunately couldn't quite get the luck for. But then Eddie had that chance where he was put through one-on-one, and he tried to take it to the right, well, to the left of Martinez, to the right of Nketiah. And in that moment, I was just like, what is he doing? Why is he going wide? Just go left, use the confidence on your left foot, finish past Martinez comfortably. That's what, in my opinion, you should have done. I'm not a footballer. I'm not going to try and pretend that I know best, but I was a bit like, oh, yeah, I think maybe he should have gone on his left side and just kind of finished round Martinez. But that was a big, big miss from Eddie. But to be fair to him, he got back up, carried on, played through once again the full match, and his energy, his running, his runs, is the dragging defenders away from moments, opened up space for us. But also before we scored our third goal, Martin Odegaard had an amazing opportunity that he dragged wide of the post. You have to score. Like, there is no, I would have loved to know what the XG of that chance was, because Martinez was on the opposite side of his goal, running back across. He has to score. Odegaard has to score that chance. And at that point, I'm thinking it's not our day. It's not our day. And it's not going to be our day. But then Ramsdale pops up with this. I don't really know how to describe how underrated I think this save is. But when you watch this in real time, and I encourage you to go watch it back in real time, as in when you're watching it first happen, and you can see it in the highlights. The speed, the power at which Bailey hits his strike to the near post, for Ramsdale to react quick enough to get his hands up and get enough of his hands on it to palm that onto the bar. And we did well to clear it afterwards. Ramsdale, that was amazing. I can't stress, I put him in, I did my winners and losers piece last night, and it's come out this morning if you want to give it a read. And I put Ramsdale in my winners just purely for that moment, because that moment was so good. And then there was another opportunity right at the end when we were winning the game. I'm not sure who it was running through. It might have been Duran, I think. But again, he pulled off another save right at the end. He collected McGinn's shot really well. I thought Ramsdale was really good. But that save in particular, wow, what an unbelievable save. Anyway, let's get to the moment that I know you all want to discuss. Jorginho. Jorginho. Wow. Like, when he hit the ball and it was sailing towards the upright, I was like, wide. So that's going to flash wide. Like, from my position, it just felt like it was going wide. Kai said he felt like it was sailing in, and I just didn't get that. I didn't get that sense of the shot. And obviously, when it hit the bar, I was like, yeah, okay. In that split second, I had to react to it. And then when it hit Emi, I was like, oh, it's going to roll wide of the goal, even more unfortunate. But then when the net just kind of ripples as you realize the ball's gone in the back of it, because from the angle that I was sitting at, it's difficult sometimes perceptively to see where the ball's moving. But first, I have to talk about Jorginho. We can talk about the funny part of it afterwards. But Jorginho was absolutely amazing. Like, his game was so good, so controlled, so influential. And I'm so glad that he is going to take the heroic moment of this. I was looking through some of the statistics this morning. I'll show you. Obviously, one winning moment. He featured in 3 of the top 10 passing combinations. And if you can see the picture at the bottom of the screen as well, the spine of Saliba's passing to Jorginho to Odegaard, he actually features the passing combinations with Saliba and Odegaard features in the top 5 of the whole team. So Jorginho features in 2 of the top 5, but he's also in 3 of the top 10 passing combinations of the whole game. 92% pass accuracy, 4 passes into the box, 3 of which were really good. 1 just slightly overhit for Saka, which really, if he had taken a little bit off of that pass, would have been great. 6 recoveries in the opposition half. Like, 6 recoveries in the opposition half is so good for a player that people consider not to be enough on the front foot, not doing enough from his mobility standpoint. So good. And I'm so glad he silenced so many of those critics. Some people were really unhappy with the signing of Jorginho. He's not really done anything wrong. I know there's moments where he gets turned, and I know there's moments where he goes in a little bit aggressively and they turn, and then there's space behind, and maybe we'll suffer from that at times if he continues to play. But of the players that were available in January, of which Caicedo and Onana were not, and I don't care how many times people want to leave comments in my comment section saying you don't know, you're not in the clubs. I can tell you from the people that know, neither were going anywhere. Neither were going anywhere. So when you're then whittling down your options in the January window, to be able to get in a player that's already started 15 games for Chelsea this season, Premier League ready, has won all that experience of winning big trophies, and you can bring him in on a very short-term deal for a smallish amount of money over nobody and over any other option that was available in that window, it's a really good bit of business. It's a good bit of business. There just isn't any other way of looking at it for me. It's a good bit of business. And I think he's proving that in these games. He's proving that we were right to do that deal. And if it was between him and Lokonga starting, wow. You think about when Lokonga played, and no disrespect, but when Lokonga played against Man City in the second half when Partey came off, we lost that game. And we lost that game because we lost the control in the midfield. Jorginho gives us the control that we lack when we don't have Partey. He gives us that control back. And it's so good to see. And I hope that people are magnanimous enough to hold their hands up and say, you know what? I really prejudged Jorginho. I got this one wrong. And I really hope people are magnanimous enough to do that. Anyway, enough of the serious stuff. Emi Martinez. Unlucky, mate. I cannot stand this guy. It's just... If he was an Arsenal player, I'd probably love it. That's the hypocrisy of it. That's the hypocrisy of it, if we're being honest. If he was still an Arsenal player, we'd probably love it and we'd be joking around, enjoying it, But he's not. And so I hate it because that's how football is. That's how football is. I can't help but laugh when talking about Emi Martinez, because what happened is just it's so gloriously apt. It's so gloriously appropriate, so gloriously karma. There was a moment in the game, I don't know if it was picked up by the television cameras. You may have seen it, you may not have done. And I don't know if it was the right moment, but Eddie Nketiah obviously missed his chance. There was another moment in the box, and Emi Martinez goes up and strokes the face of Eddie Nketiah when the score's at 2-2. He then, after he's walking away, starts punching the air and really celebrating and geeing Aston Villa, like, come on, let's get this draw. Let's take 2 points off Arsenal. I don't know if you picked up on that when it was going on. It was a really patronising moment on Eddie Nketiah. And then to see that happen, it's just perfection. I'm actually happier that happened than Jorginho getting his goal, because Jorginho will get the plaudits still. For many people, and me included, it's his goal. It's his moment. He should enjoy that. He won't get credited officially with it, but it's his moment, and it's worthy of a goal, that strike. But this just makes it even better. It just makes it. It's like when you watch those really fancy cooking programs like Great British Menu or MasterChef, and they make this amazing dish. And at the end of making this amazing dish, they get a grater out and they get a truffle out, and they just grate loads of truffle over the top of them. That was this moment. That was this thing. This was the truffle all over our amazing meal, is what this was. And yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. And then the Arsenal fans just ripped into him. Absolutely. And he wasted so much time. So much time was wasted during this game by Emi Martinez. I think it came down to something like 8 minutes he wasted in the game. Got a yellow card because, of course, goalkeepers always do, and he's never going to get sent off for it. But apparently, I think I saw a stat saying he wasted around allegedly 8 minutes during the game. And yeah, brilliant. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. We went on and scored a fourth. As you all know, Emi went up for the corner and Martinelli runs through, scores, celebrates before scoring. Gabby Agbonlahor, cry more. I don't know if you've seen the clip of him moaning about it on TalkSport, but cry more, mate. I thought the celebrations, though, were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The celebrations everywhere in the ground. There were celebrations going on. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. When that goal went in from Emi, though, and as I tell you, for those that are new to the show or those that don't, that haven't been tuning in that long, when I've talked about it before, but because I'm in the press box with the other journalists and stuff, when Arsenal score, you can't really celebrate. You have to sit on your hands. You have to sit and just kind of continue writing, continue just getting your updates in. And I had a nightmare. Aston Villa's Wi-Fi, by the way, in that press box is dreadful. Like, I lost connection to the blog we were doing so many times. Awful Wi-Fi. I know it's the wrong place, wrong time to moan about infrastructure, but it was terrible and really frustrating. But yeah, you have to sit on your hands. You can't really celebrate. But when that goal went in, yeah, we celebrated. We celebrated more than I've ever celebrated in a press box. I just couldn't control myself. I could not. I was clapping. There were Aston Villa fans. There was a big wall in front of us, so we were protected. But there was so many Aston Villa fans in front of us that were like turning around because all of us were we'd lost it. Yeah. There was loud, and it got riled. Let's just say that I didn't. For those people that are going to ask me the question of what happened in the press box, I was in the first row, and everything that happened behind me, so I can't see it. So it would be unfair of me to describe a situation I've not seen. All I can describe it is there was a commotion. There was a commotion in the press box, and I was in the front row, so I couldn't turn around, because not only am I in the front row, but when you turn around, you just see laptop screens, because obviously there's another row behind you of journalists, so you can't see what's really going on. But it was, yeah, I can't explain the relief, the emotion, just everything just pours out. And it's just such a sense of, yes, we've done it. I love this picture of Saliba. I had to include it. Posted it to his Instagram. It's fantastic. So yeah, look, amazing celebrations. So can't really get too much better than that. However, it did get better than that because Manchester City then went and drew to Nottingham Forest. Chelsea went and lost to Southampton at home. And then Newcastle lost to Liverpool, yes, but Newcastle are much closer to us. And it just was wow. Yeah, wow. What a day. If you've not yet watched it, I uploaded a video. Of we were on the train back from Birmingham when the news came through about the Man City result. There was a group of 4 American supporters that had actually gone to the game. For someone that was their first Premier League game. What a game to pick, by the way. And we were watching because they're based in the US. They must have had something that would allow them, let's say, to change their geolocation. And they were watching on their US subscription of the Man City game. And when it reached full time, the realization that just spread throughout the train carriage. And I was trying to get work done on the train, and I just had to give up halfway through of writing my piece, and I wrote it on the next train that I had to go and get on, because there was no way that I was ever going to get anything done, because it was just an amazing moment, amazing environment. And it was a good chat with a number of people, actually. Amy Lawrence was on the train in the same carriage as us. So was, and obviously I was traveling with Kaya as well. It was just great talking about the victory, the win, nostalgia, and the supporters. But yeah. Oh, brilliant stuff. Absolutely brilliant. What a day. What you could not have asked for a better 90 minutes overall as a game for your first fixture. I know that Albert, our good friend Albert JTV, was his first away game. What an amazing away game to go to for your first away game. Amy Lawrence took her kids, and I think she said it was their first away game. What an amazing experience for them. But yeah, just brilliant. I'll tell you what, a certain Emi Martinez could have done with being a little bit more safe, a little bit more secure. And maybe if he'd have just backed himself up, maybe if he had just added a little bit more of those characteristics to his game, then that ball may not have changed its geolocation from the back of his head and instead landing in the back of the net. Of course, what he could have done is use NordVPN, because NordVPN would have never, ever, ever allowed the little, let's describe that ball as a little bit of a pesky tracker. Just imagine this metaphor for a second. The ball was one of those peeping Todd bowlers that trying to get where it wants to go, trying to see what you're doing. And what you're doing is in the back of that net. And had Emi Martinez had NordVPN, maybe it would have protected him, just like it protects you when you're surfing the net online. Not only that, but of course, it does enable you to change your geolocation. So if you are wanting to watch something that is not in the location that you're currently situated, it can change your tablet, your phone, your laptop in a split second. And so you can then change where your phone thinks it is. If you're not happy with the service, you can get a 30-day money-back guarantee, but you can get a significant discount. Emi, go to nordvpn.com/Gooner to get yourself a significant amount of money off. That clean sheet bonus is gone, fella. You're going to need this discount. So go to nordvpn.com/Gooner to get yourself a significant discount off this service. Not only that, but after he scored a fantastic goal in yesterday's game, you can win a signed Bukayo Saka shirt. Now, you're going to have to be quick. Link's in the description, but I think there's 5 or 6 tickets left. UK only, I'm afraid. But you're going to have to be quick, guys, to get involved with this one. You're going to have to be quick. So make sure you get involved. Link in the description for that. And we'll bring you information about the next prize that will be live on the Football Prizes website in tomorrow morning's show. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's go to part 2 and your questions and comments right after this. How good was that, eh? Hello and welcome to the Gooner Tour. Back again with you guys for another show for part 2 of today's fantastic reaction and thoughts and feelings and theories and questions. In part 2, we're going to be going for another 20 minutes of show, a little bit of an extended show this morning, talking all things about Arsenal's game and win against Aston Villa. Let's jump into the chat box and get some of your thoughts and feelings about this. Aditya says, Tom, are you a believer now? A believer in who? I've always believed this season. I feel like I'm unmatched, Aditya, in the belief that I've got this season for this team. I was gutted on Wednesday. Absolutely gutted. I uploaded a quick short that was made by our new short creator, Bio, yesterday, and you saw how gutted I was regarding what we're doing, regarding the outpouring of just raw frustration. But I've never doubted this team can go and potentially win it. You know, when I first got that realization, like, yeah, we can do that. It's never ceased. It's never stopped. I've always believed that we can do it. Jay says, can we nominate Emmys for goal of the month? I really hope that we do. I really hope that they do that, because they've missed a great opportunity if they don't do that. If they don't nominate it for the goal of the month, they surely have to. Maggie says, how selfless was it of Jorginho to intentionally bounce the ball off of Martinez's head so that Arsenal fans could get to laugh at our ex-goalkeeper rather than scoring his first goal? You know, I think in terms of how humble a person can be, is there any greater humble act than what we saw from Jorginho yesterday? James says, any word on Partey? Yeah, there was a small word actually on Partey. I think now, I'm pretty sure. Oh, look at that. I'm being asked to remove my two-factor authentication off Twitter, by the way. How ridiculous is that? For those that don't know, you have to remove text two-factor authentication unless you want Twitter Blue. So just a heads up, you may see a little tick mark by my name soon, because I'd quite like to keep two-factor authentication. I've never been interested in getting Twitter Blue. It's just not what I didn't want it. But for me, safety and security, as you know, for me is really important, and I have everything I can to protect me from stuff like that. So I'm unfortunately going to have to get Twitter Blue across 2 accounts, which is going to cost me double. Great. Across my personal and across my podcast one. Brilliant. Amazing. Stupid. Anyway, Arteta on Partey. There was a quote. Yes, he says he's not fit. He didn't even train with us yesterday. He probably needs another week. That's what we've been told, is that he needs another week, apparently. But fingers crossed it sorts itself out. Let's go to Matt says, how long is it going to before the refs start protecting Saka? He's going to get seriously hurt soon. That challenge from Moreno was shocking. It's beyond a joke at this point. It's beyond a disgrace. And I'll tell you what, there was a part in the second half, Saka wanted to come off. And I know he's probably worthy a little bit of criticism because he shouldn't give up. But he wanted to come off. He signalled to the bench that he wanted to come off. At least that's what it looked like from where we were sitting, we were facing. And when he went down right at the beginning of the second half, he went like that. Even Jorginho was like going like this because he'd spoken to him. And I didn't like that. You know, obviously, I don't want you to see your player kind of in a sense giving up. And so we're so glad that he was kind of talked into. But there's also part of me that goes, like, I can completely empathise with how he's feeling, because he just gets no protection. No protection at all. Just booted, kicked left and right. If that's Harry Kane, the rest blowing up every time, sending people off, giving them yellow cards. It's a joke. It's a joke the way that he's treated and is allowed to be treated. Arteta said in his post-match press conference that they're going to watch back the tapes, and if they need to say anything about it to the authorities, they will. But it's ridiculous. He has no protection, and he's going to get a serious ankle injury at some stage because players are just allowed to rotationally foul him. And against Man City, it wasn't even rotational fouling. Silva was just able to get kick after kick after kick after kick, and but just before half-time was he booked. It was a joke. And he should have been booked way earlier than that, because he needs that he needs to be protected. You're allowing one of the best talents in England. I know it doesn't matter that he's necessarily English, but it's just the irony of the fact that English referees are just allowing one of the best talents to get just chipped away at every single game, time after time after time. Risky says, Tom, anything on Jesus' comeback? Nothing beyond what we already know. Start of March. That's what we're hoping. Start of March is what we're hoping to see regarding him. Jelly Pig says, do you think there is a better winger option at the moment than Kvaratskhelia? The guy's tearing up Serie A, still only 22, and I think he would raise us to another level. You know, he's a fantastic player. But I don't see us signing him, to be honest. I see him going to a Real Madrid, if anything. You know, I think that's a level that he can probably get to. He's brilliant, brilliant player. Let's go to Monkberry, who says, given how well Jorginho did yesterday, when Partey returns, does he slot straight back in? It depends. It depends on the context of the situation. It depends on the context of the game. I don't think if Partey was available for Leicester, I don't think I'd start him. I think I'd start Jorginho because he was great. He was brilliant. As I put all the stats up on the screen for you, he had a man of the match display, did Jorginho. Could not fault his performance yesterday. He was 6 recoveries in the opposition half, 4 passes into the box, 2 of the top 5 passing combinations he was involved in. He was part of that spine. He was great. Absolutely great. So I don't know why. I don't think we need. If anything, if you're going to change anything about the midfield, I would have dropped Xhaka for Partey, because Xhaka I thought was off yesterday. I think it was probably one of his poorest games, and he's been quite poor in the last few weeks. Actually, his levels dipped, which is a shame because he's been so good this season, but he just kept kind of giving the ball away. He just looks a bit tired. He's going to have a week off, a week's rest this week, but. Yeah, if anything, when Partey comes back, I'd play him slightly ahead. Of Jorginho and let Jorginho sit in and put Partey slightly ahead, maybe. If not, then you play Zinchenko and Tierney. I thought Zinchenko's first half was really poor. He wasn't happy with his performance. I spoke to him after the game. You're going to hear some of those or read some of those quotes later tonight. But Zinchenko wasn't happy with his game. But regarding kind of what we need to do and to change, again, I was frustrated with Arteta's subs. I was frustrated with the substitutions because, again, they were like for like. It's the first time that things obviously have gone differently since making those changes. But the changes were, again, it's silly for me to be a little bit critical of subs, obviously, when we've gone on to win the game. And I know I might look a little bit silly for doing that, but it is just that sense of the same changes being made for the 4th game in a row. Xhaka for Vieira, the left winger being replaced by the left winger, Tomiyasu coming on for White. I didn't really want to see Tomiyasu come on for White because I thought White was doing really well. I thought White in the second half was fantastic. And I was gutted to see him go off, actually. But we've won the game. So, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of me? We can talk about the substitutions then. Amir says the like-for-like worked against Brentford. It didn't. Yes, we got the goal, but we didn't win. We didn't win the game. And we didn't change things later on when we'd conceded. There was still plenty of minutes, Amir, after we conceded that goal that we shouldn't have conceded because of VAR. But there was plenty of times after that, that's that equaliser from Brentford, equaliser in quotation marks, that we could have changed things more to be more attacking, more risky. We could have changed things a bit. So, no, I'm not happy with the subs. I'm just not. I think I want to see greater proactive. I want to see greater change. Just for me, it's just my view on it. I want to see more from the substitution. That's the only gripe I have. Is I just want to see more from the substitutions because it needs to be. There are games this season where we're going to need the subs to be better. We're going to need the in-game management to be better. And Amir, I know that you come into the chat box and you're very happy to come into the chat box and talk to me when I'm being very, very positive about Arteta. And I'll tell you what, I'd say 95% of the time I'm being very positive. But you have to be grounded and objective and critical when there are criticisms to be had. And I think that you need to have that. And ultimately, Martinelli coming off the bench, giving us those fresh legs was great. But I think that we could have done even more. We could have done even more. But it doesn't matter because we won the game. Let's go to Aditya says it's 1.3k watching. Hit the like button. This is the most we've had watching a little while. Obviously, I know since the transfer window's ended, but seeing so many of you happy and enthusiastic and loving Arsenal again is so great to see. That's what I want. I just want us to be happy and enjoying football and enjoying Arsenal because it's a great season for us. It's such an enjoyable period of time. So do make sure you tune in every morning at 8 a.m. because we're going to continue to bring you the shows, giving you all the latest Arsenal news and views and reactions to what's going on in the world of the Gunners. And do indeed drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are indeed new. Keem says, what do you think of Lee Mason's sacking? So for me, and I know that I put out an unpopular opinion on Twitter about this, I am not one that likes to see sackings. You know, I'm just not that way inclined. And I think that this just papers over the cracks for me. I think, to be fair, it's not sacking. It's agreed mutual consent. That's what it is. So let's just correct that. It's mutual consent. That's how he left. We don't know the ins and outs of what went on behind the scenes, but factually, he left by mutual consent. For me, it papers over the cracks because I want to see accountability. And accountability for me comes by referees facing demotions to the Championship. For referees in the Championship that are doing well, getting promotions up to the Premier League. That's what I want to see. By getting rid of somebody, whether he wanted to move on or not, I don't know. It just papers over the cracks of the problem. Making an example of somebody, for me, only it breeds fear and arguably puts more pressure on referees, which could have in turn an even worse impact on the decisions that are made because they make decisions through fear. And that could lead to more wrong decisions being made. For me, I want to see accountability through referees being taken off of game weeks, as we've started to see. I want to see referees sent down to the Championship and other referees promoted. That's how you create a culture of accountability. You don't create it through getting rid of people, for me. And that's not what I want. And I also don't particularly like the social pile-on that happened. Guy's just lost his job. Cool, like whatever. He's lost his job. I don't care, right? I'm not going to go and jump onto social media and go, yeah, he's lost his job. Like, what? Just think, take a step back for a second and think about what you're doing. Think about that you're jumping onto a public forum and celebrating someone losing their job. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing because the reason why they've gone links back to a really big problem that we still need to solve. We need to solve that issue. And for me, it's not solved because of this. It's not solved because of this. There's bigger problems that have to be solved, not through people leaving. Things need to be solved by creating accountability, by promoting improvement of the existing people that are there. That's my position on it. I know it's not particularly popular. I know that. But for me, the bigger problem still exists. And that is what my priority is. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the pile on social media of just laughing and celebrating someone losing their job. If he's gone, he's gone. If he deserved to go, he deserved to go. If that's what they felt, that's what they felt. That's fine, whatever. But I really don't care enough to jump onto social media and start celebrating someone losing their livelihood. I'm just not that way inclined personally. Raoul says, morning, Tom. Have you seen Ramsdale's making saves with his feet? I noticed for Watkins' goal and Grealish's goal, rather than going with his foot, he's tending to dive. Is it an area to improve? Ramsdale has been beaten at his near post on a number of occasions. He has been, to be fair, the Grealish one was a deflection off of Tomiyasu. So I'm not really critical of the Grealish goal because without the deflection, I think he probably saves Grealish's shot, which is unlucky. Ollie Watkins is a really good goal. I don't think that's a goal that you need to go for with your feet, to be honest. It's not a strike of the ball that I think that if you go with your feet for that you save it. I think he just needs to get down quicker. But it's a very, very good finish from Watkins, and I don't think you can take too much away from that, to be fair. So yeah, I don't know about his feet. It's not something I've picked up on, to be honest. but maybe it's something that I need to take a greater attention to. But I personally have not seen anything to suggest that's the case. But you may have picked up on something that I haven't. Gooner76 says, Tom, do you think that we should have auto offsides like other leagues? Yes. Simple answer for me. Yes, absolutely. And Gooner Lad says, is this shirt still available to buy? It's the European training top. So it's this season. So yeah, if it's still on the Arsenal Direct website, it's a great shirt. It's what I usually go running in, which I hopefully should be getting back to soon. So yeah, but very nice kit, this one. I wish it's kind of one that they would wear. It's that nice. But yeah, it's the European training top for this season. So I would recommend picking it up if you haven't. Clive says, just joined. Good to see you, Clive. Can we all agree Jorginho is better than Sambi and El Neni? Today is a good day. I think if anyone wasn't already agreeing that when we signed him, Clive, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're not agreeing to that point now, what more can you say? It's where I started off today's show. At the end of the day, Jorginho has come in, and I think for me was the best option, the best option that we could have got at the end of the January window. I don't think there was anyone that we could have got that was really better in that situation than him. On deadline day with 24 hours to go after we'd really messed up. And it was a mistake, the Caicedo pursuit, to try and bid that much money, overpaying anyway, and trying to bid that much money for a player that Brighton had no intention, had never ever intended to lose, which really then limited what you could do at the end of the window for a position that we had to bring in. I think it was really good business. Really good business to get Jorginho in. And I said that at the time. This is me being all retrospective. Go back and watch our deadline day phone in. I'm happy with the deal. I'm happy with that move, and have been since it happened. Clive says, think the goals of Trossard and Jorginho have contributed since signing. Brentford, Manchester United and Villa, huge points, and Edu has learned from last year. I mean, last January we did nothing, and if you didn't learn from that, you can't be helped. Do you know what I mean? And I remember, Clive, we sat with yourself, Arsblog, and Kev Campbell in January of last year. And then one of the things that we said after that was that it was more important to not sign the wrong players. Right? Yes, it was more important to not sign anybody than sign the wrong players. But the thing is that we don't know what players are available all the time in that window, and we may have missed opportunities that we don't necessarily know about. This window, there was opportunities, and we've taken those opportunities. We tried to do more than the opportunities that we ended up succeeding with, but they just proved too financially restricted to what we want to do. Some people say that we should just pay the money for Joao Felix, for instance, who, again, still, despite being good, has not won a game for Chelsea. It's not been on the winning side in his performances for Chelsea so far. Hilarious. Absolutely brilliant. Let it continue. I'm injecting Chelsea's misfortune and misery into my veins every day. But yeah, look, I think the January window was really battered by, hugely over-exaggeratively battered by people. We got in the wide player that we needed, we got in a midfielder that we needed, and we got in a surprise left-sided centre-back that we may end up needing. And I really hope that people reflect on the January window in much better terms now, because, yes, we've struggled in form, but what we've seen is the players that have been bought, Trossard scoring against Brentford, Jorginho being consistent, now Partey's not available, they've made an impact. They have absolutely made an impact, and that can't be disputed. And that's all you can ask for. Who's made the bigger impact since joining, Mudryk or Trossard? Trossard's made the bigger impact. You have to be honest about that. He's made the bigger impact of the two players so far. And yes, there's context around Mudryk coming to a new league, being young, all of that. I accept that. But this season, Trossard's made the bigger impact. In terms of Joao Felix or Jorginho, I know they're playing different positions. But who's made a bigger impact at their club? Jorginho has made the bigger impact between Joao Felix and Jorginho. So the players that we've bought have impacted what we've done, other than Kivior, who, to be honest, let's be real, hasn't got in the team because Gabriel's playing. And when the Europa League gets back underway, I hope that we see Kivior, because I'm excited to see what he's capable of. He's quick. This guy's fast. We haven't got a slow defender at the back. And I hope that we gradually see more and more of Kivior. And we would not have bought him without knowing that he's going to be integral, not maybe integral, but certainly impactful and influential in what we're going to do in the future. So there you go. Anyway, that's enough of Clive taking over my morning show. Pierce says, start, bench, or sell next season. Jesus, Nketiah, Balogun. Start Jesus. Oh, that's just so easy, isn't it? Start Jesus. Oh, sell. Right now, right this very second, as we sit after watching Nketiah fail to score and miss these chances, and while Balogun is smashing it in that league, you have to say keep and bench Balogun and sell Nketiah. But that might change between now and the end of the season. So as I speak on February 19th, start Jesus, sell Nketiah, bench Balogun. That's how I feel right now. And that's probably unfair on Nketiah. But as I sit here right now, that's what I'm doing. Go mad all you like, but you've given me 3 options and I have to pick. I can't not pick one of them. So that's where I sit right now. But I'd like to think that all 3 could have an influence next season. I'd like to think that Balogun can be reintegrated and we have 3 because we might need 3. So let's keep them on. But like I said, Tom hates Nketiah, confirmed. So you can't, it's impossible. It's impossible not to do that and then come out looking like a mug for one of the 3 players. Let's go to Daniel. Says, do you think we should go for Kane as we push and get his childhood dream and put the Spuds into meltdown? Could be a Sol Campbell 2.0. No, I don't think so. He'd cost like a silly amount of money. He's on a lengthy contract, I think, still. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, mate. It's not going to happen. Kev says, Tom, I think the truffle that you talked about earlier should be Emery's post-match interview and his obvious frustration with Emi Martinez. I'll be honest, I was surprised. I was in the press conference with Unai Emery, and he was frustrated. The first question came in asking about kind of the performance, and he went on for a long time. He went on for a really long time explaining his thoughts around the game. He wasn't happy with the transitions. He wasn't happy with the way they gave the ball away. He felt they wasted too much time. He felt that it was the wrong decision for Emi Martinez to go up. And I'm sorry, but you can moan about Emi Martinez. You're the manager. You're the manager. Shout at your player. Get him back. You can't bemoan a decision that you have control of changing the outcome of. You know, we often say the words like managers can't go on the field and kick the ball themselves. But what they can do is they can shout at their player not to go up. If the player then refuses and continues to go up, different story. But you can't complain about something that you have a control over. You just can't. And because he didn't do that, they conceded a 4th goal because Unai Emery didn't change. By the way, I've been very impressed with what he's done at Villa, and I think he's a very good manager for the right club. I don't think he was right for Arsenal, but at the right club, he's a good coach. And I can tell you that in and around Aston Villa, they are really, really thankful that they have Unai Emery. They think it is kind of a manager that is not above them, because that's the wrong way to talk about Aston Villa, who are a massive club. But I think in this context of their situation, to be able to get a manager like Unai Emery or a head coach like Unai Emery, they're very grateful to have him. And they will expect things to improve. And he was very unhappy that they've lost 2 home games 4-2. But yeah, things could be better. Things could be better. I think there was a super chat that I may have missed earlier on. Let me scroll up and try to find it. There it is. Vegas Gunner, thank you for the donation. Fantastic results. Some starters have been missing for weeks and others not at their best. When is Nelson coming back? Saka needs a backup. Nelson's on the bench. Smith Rowe is on the bench. So they're in the squad. They're there. I don't think that Nelson necessarily will be coming on all that much unless we have a situation that demands it. Smith Rowe, hopefully we can see him come on against Leicester. Hopefully we have an opportunity to use him. We didn't have to use him necessarily yesterday, which obviously proved the case. We didn't have to use him, and that's why he didn't come on. But hopefully we see Smith Rowe very soon as well. Mike, thank you so much, Mike Rolfe, who's joined us as a brand new member. Welcome to the TGT community. Thank you for helping support the channel. Really appreciate that kind gesture. And I'm sure I can see people already welcoming you into the fold, which is great. Stuart says, I don't agree with your sub rants. Boring and wrong, in my opinion. We were all over them. Fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, Stuart. It's just my view. I just think I'd like to see us a little bit more proactive with the subs. I think I'd like to see us a little bit more adventurous. And I think in the last 3 games, Everton in particular, Brentford, and then Man City, Pep Guardiola reacted in the second half, and we didn't react to Pep reacting, if that makes sense. I'd like to see us be better with the substitutions. I don't necessarily think it's a rant. I just think it's a criticism I have. A rant would be me what I was doing more so about the refereeing and earlier on. But for me, Stuart, I think that the substitutions could be more just more influential, more changed, more dramatic. I think that's where we could be with the substitutions. Let's go to Carl says, nice guy. And I mean this a compliment, but his press conferences are now much more understandable. Well, he's learned the language more. He's become more assimilated into this culture and this language. So yeah, it was good. It was much more coherent, and you could definitely understand where he was coming from. So there you go. Chris says, what really happened in the press box? As I said, I think, as someone said earlier, that the Times have done a piece on it. So if you want to read what happened, as I said, I was right at the front of the press box, so I can't. I turned around and looked, but I just could only see laptops. Couldn't really see what was happening. So I can't really necessarily comment on something I've not seen firsthand. But there are articles out there that you can go and read that will tell you all about what happened, I'm sure, for people that had a better view of what was going on. So there you go. Amira says, what's happened to our urgency recently? We only wake up after conceding, and even yet we only slowly grew into the game. I don't think that's true about the second half, Amira. I think the second half immediately kicked off better. I thought immediately, as soon as we started the second half, we were the better side. And I think we maintained that throughout the whole half. First half, really slow, no energy, really critical of what I saw in the first half. Was not happy whatsoever. Urgency, energy wasn't there. Second half, yes, it was. Second half, it was there. I don't agree that we slowly grew. I thought it was a much faster rise that led to the equaliser. Yes, it left ourselves open, and that's how Aston Villa got their chances. But I actually thought the second half was impressive. Ronald says, will White start as centre-back and Tierney at left-back? I think White may start as centre-back if Saliba was to be injured or suspended, and then Tomiyasu would come in. But I really can't see a way back in for Tierney at the moment, which is a shame because I think he deserves more minutes than he's getting. But Zinchenko is just so important to what Arteta wants. And I was, in the previous show, and a lot of other people suggesting Zinchenko should be moved out at left-back. He had a poor first half, Zinchenko. And I was sitting there at half-time going, I wonder if he might bring Tierney on. He didn't. He stuck with him, and we're bloody happy that he did because he proved to be really, really good in the second half. Kev says, can we give a shout out to Arteta for his mocking of the referee? It was funny. I didn't see it until after the game, the little ball roll thing. I can't remember what the game was, but do you remember where there's the picture of him going like this, where he's like, he pulls that face. Yeah, okay. It's just a little bit of kiddishness about him, a little bit of immaturity, and I don't mind that too much. I think he kind of sometimes he wears his heart on his sleeve. You can't say that he doesn't. He just it bubbles up to the surface on the field. I love it. I love the fact it winds other people up, and that's what I said earlier about what was it? Emi Martinez. If we had Emi Martinez, we'd probably love it. We'd probably love the fact that Emi Martinez was being all the housery that he brings. We'd probably love it. But because it's not, we hate it. That's just how football is. That's how fickle we are as supporters. But yeah, whilst I hate Emi Martinez for what he does, whilst I hate Neil Maupay for what he does, I kind of love what Arteta does. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Let's go to Camera Up, who says, would you accept winning the league this season if it means Saka leaves the club in the summer? Deal or no deal? Oh, you can't ask me that. That's horrible. Win the league, but Saka leaves. Arsenal Football Club is bigger than any one player. It's a simple. Oh, I'm bleeding. I've got a nosebleed. Oh no, I'm fine. I got too stressed out. I think we're good. Yeah, we're fine. Just somehow managed to bleed all over my face. That's never happened before. Maybe it was that TGT sneeze earlier. But where was I? I've completely lost my trail of thought from a nosebleed live on air. That's hilarious. Yeah, Camera Up. Would you accept winning the league? Yeah. Look, in terms of every player is bigger. Any club is bigger than any one player. Okay, It's as simple as that. And if Arsenal win the league, he has to go. Because any club is bigger than a player. That's the way I'm going to answer the question. I think that a nosebleed live on air is probably the symbol that I need to probably go and wrap this show up. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure to join you, as it always is. Really appreciate your time. Have a fantastic Sunday. Enjoy it. Let's hope Manchester United drop points. Let's hope that we can do the business next week against Leicester. I'll bring you more content, more reaction to this game, of course, with more shows in the mornings. But other than that, it's been a real pleasure, a real joy to speak to you as always, because it always is. But yeah, what a day, what a game, what an experience. Thank you for listening. Have an amazing time, an amazing Sunday. And as always, up the Arsenal.